This video is the first in a series of videos that I want to do about VA decisions, how to read them, how to understand them, and what to do when you get a bad one. And I think a good place to start with this video is just a quick overview of what the VA is supposed to include in every decision. 38 U.S.C. section 5104 requires that the VA sends you and your representative, if you have one, notice of any decision they make regarding your claim for benefits, any benefits. And the statute goes further and explains that the VA is supposed to include some specific things with that notice, things such as identification of the issues adjudicated. This is generally an identification of all the disabilities that you've claimed that they've made a decision on in the decision that you're receiving. A summary of the evidence considered by the Secretary, a summary of the applicable laws and regulations, identification of findings favorable to the claimant, which is typically you, the veteran, sometimes a spouse or other dependent. In the case of a denial, an identification of the elements not satisfied which led to the denial. This also provides you a handy little roadmap with what you need to think about including in a supplemental claim or how you need to frame an appeal. Also on this list is an explanation of how to obtain or access the evidence used in making the decision. This is basically a copy of your C-file. Next, if applicable, the VA is supposed to identify the criteria that must be satisfied in order to grant you service connection. That is, if they denied you service connection. They're also supposed to identify the criteria that must be satisfied in order for you to receive the next higher level of compensation. The VA is supposed to describe for you what you were supposed to prove but didn't. And again, this provides you a handy roadmap for how you set up your appeal. And finally, the VA is supposed to provide you with your options to appeal a decision if you don't like it. And I'm using the word appeal here in a very loose sense, because some of your options probably aren't technically appeals. I'm speaking specifically of something like a supplemental claim. Now, the VA's regulations, specifically 38 CFR 3.103F, restates all of these things, although they do it in a slightly different format. So that's the information the VA is supposed to provide you. But how do they go about doing it? Well, if you've ever received a decision from the VA, you know that they mail you a lot of paper when they make a decision. A lot of paper. And all of that paper can basically be broken down into two main documents. The first is a notice letter, and the second is the actual rating decision. And all of that information the VA is supposed to provide you needs to be in one of those two pieces of paper, or documents, I should say, the notice letter or the decision. Let's talk about the notice letter first. Now, the notice letter looks much more like an actual letter. There's some addresses in the top left-hand side, and the thing you want to look for to make sure you're on the right document is that very prominently, sometimes in bold, sometimes in a larger case, but always near the front or near the top of that letter, there's a phrase that says something like, "We've made a decision regarding your VA benefits," or "We've made a decision on your claim for benefits," or something like that. That's your clue that you're looking at the notice letter. Also with the notice letter, the VA adds all of those documents to the back where the VA describes your options to appeal a decision or describes other benefits that are available to you. The rating decision, on the other hand, has a much different look to it, at least on the first page. And you'll recognize it because a lot of that main introductory information will be centered on that first page. And you'll also see the phrase on there that says rating decision, and it should be pretty prominent where that is. The other thing about a rating decision is that this is where the VA really gets into the detail of why they granted or denied your claim. Or at least they should, but they don't always, and that's very, very frustrating. And I'll get into that more later in other videos, at least as far as how to deal with that. I think this is a good place to stop this video. There's a whole lot more to cover, like I said earlier, and I'll get into that with other videos. I'm afraid if I do it all at once, the videos will just get get way too long, or at least a lot longer than the videos that I like to make. And I like to break this information up into bite-sized chunks so that you can take it in at a more manageable pace with whatever time you have available. But I do hope you found this quick overview helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. That will help other veterans find it. And as usual, if you want me to help you with your VA claim, whatever that claim may be, feel free to reach out to me through my website, walshvetlaw.com. Otherwise, thanks for watching.